Warning! This video contains super awesome content not suitable for people who don't enjoy super awesomeness. Viewer discretion is advised.
What up, everybody? Welcome to Out of the Ordinary. This is episode number 9, and we got Liz here. Tonight's topic, Mexican urban legends.
Woo woo!
So let's see who's all in the comments here.
Well, hello to people that are watching right now.
What up?
We will get more people in here, I guarantee it. Especially because of the
All
awesomeness
right.
that we're talking about.
Right. So let's get to talking about the first story here, which is the Mexican Ghost Bus. The Mexican Ghost Bus is a story about dangerous mountain roads in Mexico and an accident that killed everyone who was traveling in the bus.
Oh.
Sykes, what's up, man? Stephen P. Kitty Cat, how's it going, dude? Welcome.
Hey. What's up, Calvin?
Calvin, what's going on, man?
Guys, share please.
Yes, please like and share.
And smash that button. Hey, Mike.
Oh, what's up, Mike Phelps? So let's get back into this. Today, if you are traveling Mexico between the city of Toluca and the town of Ixtapan de la Sal, there is a lovely highway that makes a journey quick and easy. However, years ago, anyone making the journey was forced to travel along a dangerous and winding mountain road. One side of the narrow road, there was a steep vertical rock, and on the other side, there was a sheer drop. One evening, many years ago, a bus departed from Ixtapan de la Sal, as usual, making the familiar journey to Toluca. It was an overnight trip, so the passengers on the bus took the opportunity to get some much-needed sleep. When the bus reached the base of the mountain, it started the slow climb up the slope without any problems. Most passengers had made the trip many times, and they noticed nothing out of the ordinary. When the bus reached the highest point on the mountain, it began to rain, and the driver negotiated the dangerous curves as the road descended. Some very serious accidents had occurred on this stretch of road many times before and had been fatal. This bus began its descent in the heavy rain, and the road was slick and wet. The passengers became a little nervous when they realized that the bus was picking up speed. This was unusual. Some of them called out to the driver, but he didn't respond. The bus got faster and faster and became more frightened. The bus traveling at such a high speed was impossible to control. In the blink of an eye, they reached the curve and the driver swerved. They skidded off the cliff and plunged into the void. So yeah, that's pretty horrible there. It tumbled down the rocky slope and smashed into jagged rocks below. Many passengers were killed instantly in the crash. Others lay unconscious and bleeding in the wreckage. Then the bus caught fire within minutes. It was completely consumed by flames. Nobody heard the chilling cries of the surviving passengers, and they all died in the most dreadful and horrible imaginable way. Later that night, the police located the site of the crash and called the ambulance. Unfortunately, it was no use. There were no survivors. The bodies of some passengers lay strewn about on the sharp rocks. The bodies of others lay charred in the inside the smoking wreckage. Ever since that day, people have reported seeing the old bus traveling late at night on the road from Ixtapan de la Sal to Toluca.
Oh, it's Natalie.
Oh, hi, Natalie.
Sykes, I want to know what subtitles you're seeing because some of them are just hilarious.
Oh, I think the closed captions that the Facebook gives on live.
They're hilarious.
They are. They'll misspell your words and everything. So, okay, so they say that if you hold your hand, the bus will stop for you. And that's over there where the crash site is. That if you hold your hand out, the bus
Oh,
will
like
stop
that?
for you.
Like,
Yeah, like
hey.
kind of signaling, to stop. The doors will open when you approach it. You will notice that the bus is old but still in good condition. Even if the bus seems to be full, there will always be one empty seat. If you sit down, you will feel a strange emptiness in the pit of your stomach. You'll realize that something is very wrong. Despite the late
Oh.
hour, nobody on the bus is asleep. So like these people, they look like little, like they don't look like zombies, like they look like kind of like they're insomniacs that haven't slept, for days. Um,
Oh.
and all of the men, women, and children are wide awake, staring straight forward, but nobody is saying a word. There is a heavy silence.
Hmm.
A few minutes later, the bus conductor will walk down the aisle, checking tickets to prepare the money to pay for your ticket. But the conductor just passes you by. You arrive at Toluca smoothly, but after midnight, the driver stops the bus before arriving at the bus terminal. Then he turns and tells you that you have to get off. The journey is not finished and you do not understand why, but you obey. While everyone else stays seated, you get up and you walk down the aisle. As you pass by the driver, you attempt to pay your ticket. He waves away your money. There is no charge, says the driver. Go now and don't look back, or you will never leave this bus.
Oh.
Those who obey, who do not look behind, hear the sound of the door closing and the bus engine starting to drive off. The disobedient, however, who turn around will see that the bus is really a charred wreck. Inside, emaciated skeletons that line the seats are staring silently through the windows. The bus will disappear and you will die. In an accident a few days later, it is said that from the moment on, your ghost will be sitting in that bus. If by chance you travel to Ixtapan de la Sal one day, do not risk journeying to Toluca at night. There's a chance you will meet the ghost bus. If you do, make sure you obey the driver's instructions. Otherwise, you'll be condemned to travel on that bus for all eternity.
Damn. This is a pretty ugly bus, man.
Pretty much, man. I mean,
Oh.
so yeah,
I gotta
that
say,
that
Mexican folklore is awesome because it's just straight up creepy. There's usually no like there's a little bit of a moral of the story, but it's not like very obvious. It's just really creepy.
yeah, yeah. No wonder I had fucking nightmares at night, man. That's like my mom would tell me these stories and everything like that. I'm like, yeah, now I want to go to bed. Not. So,
Natalie says, "Holy shit, great story."
right?
Stephen P. Kitty Cat says,
So,
"Woohoo! Free bus ride."
to hell. It's like, woohoo, free bus ride to hell.
Oh. Yay! Oh.
Aw. So, Liz, do you have a story now?
Oh, okay. So I didn't get any actual stories. It was more like descriptions of folklore.
Okay. Right.
I guess we will start with El Cucuy.
El Cucuy.
So
Now, go ahead.
oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say now, a lot of us, like in the Mexican culture and everything like that, our parents would always tell us, "Hey, vale más que te portes bien porque ahí viene el cucuy," meaning behave or the boogeyman's gonna get you. So
Yes. Well,
go ahead,
that's kind of
Liz.
where my story starts too. My dad. By the way, my dad is super, super dark skinned, but I have no clue. Well, okay, we're Cherokee, but like I have no clue really where it came from because like he has super light blue eyes and super dark skin, but he's not Hispanic. I'm just putting that out there because this man would tell me stories telling me like, you better go to sleep, you better stay in bed, because if you even dangle your feet over the bed, Kukui's gonna come get you. Kukui's gonna grab your feet. Kukui's gonna eat you. And my oh hey Stormbringer, sorry.
Hi.
My dad is not Mexican, okay? But this is one of the random renditions of what Kukui could look like. So yeah, if you guys don't know, it's the Mexican boogeyman. But he's not just originated in Mexican lore. It turns out he dates back as far as Ibiza, which is like Spain and Portugal prior to it being Spain and Portugal. In fact, I think Ibiza was prior to the Roman occupation. And, but they've even found stories of it, of that and one of the other ones I'm talking about, painted from 4,000 years ago on rocks. And that was down in Mexico.
Right.
So, basically what I have for Kukui, aside from the fact that parents can be dicks and torture you with Kukui. Oh, Kukui's gonna be under your bed. Kukui's gonna be in your closet. He's gonna eat you.
Yeah, that's pretty much what happened here with my parents. My mother, well, I mean, it was just me and my mom back then.
Mm-hmm.
She'd be like, vale más que te portes bien, hijo de su pinche madre, para que te va a agarrar el Kukui. And when she said that, I was like, you know what? It's time to shut the hell up. You know, it's time to, I better chill the hell out because I don't want this stupid thing coming and get my ass or anything like that.
Right.
I'm like, hell no. And that's one of the main reasons I would stay up late at night. I'm like, hell no, I ain't gonna let this motherfucker get me or anything like that, man. Like,
child logic, I would put the blanket over my head.
Yeah,
Just sit there.
but now that you bring up the Kukui and everything like that, that's like another like folklore kind of like thing that parents used to do, to psychologically scar their kids. Was the whole thing about leaving the door open, the closet door open,
Mm-hmm.
which supposedly this was said from one of my friends when I was a child and stuff. We were playing, and one day my friend sees the closet open and everything like that, and he's like, do you sleep with your closet door open? And I'm like, yeah, why? What's wrong? And it's like, that's a gateway to hell, right? Demons can come in and out. And I'm like, really, dude? Like, now I don't want to sleep.
You're all, thanks.
So now, ever since that, when I go to sleep, if I'm in my room or something like that, I close all of my doors, all of my closet doors. I'm like, hell no. Boom. Closet
like
door
I
closed.
told you earlier, I have no closet door.
Look what Natalie put.
You never
She
sleep
knows.
with your closet door open. I have no closet door.
So
one of the things that I found really interesting were all the different names and the entomology about it, or etymology. Entomology is bugs, by the way. Etymology. So they call it kukui, they call it coco, they call it cuco, they call it cuca. It actually originated in northern Portugal. And it derives from the and Galicia. It derives from the Galician and Portuguese word meaning coconut, so coco.
yeah,
And it was used colloquially to refer to a head.
yeah,
So coco means skull, basically.
yeah. El coco.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's
so
what the Latino culture calls a head. Sometimes they'll be like, "Ay, ya te pegaron el coco." So yeah.
So they even went as far as to talk about like even Proto-Celtic variants of it. So it goes back even further, but the origin really is Ibiza.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh.
So they have poems for Kukui, like the one I was reading earlier. Don't worry, I'm not gonna butcher Spanish again. Uh, but they have stuff like "Sleep, child, sleep now, or else Coco comes and will eat you." Or
Yeah.
leave Coca, come to the top of the roof. Let the child have a quiet sleep. And then my
Right.
favorite. Sleep, little baby, the Coca comes to get you. Daddy went to the farm, mommy went to work.
Jeez.
Yeah, I'm so
How bad
sleeping
is
after
that?
that. that's
Not.
that's now me sitting there going, you know.
Right.
And then
So yeah.
this is the one
Oh,
I kept saying. I said Ibiza. I meant to say Iberia, by the way. Not Ibiza. Ibiza is a completely different area. Uh, but they even went as far as there's more. A lot of these poems and lullabies. By the way, that "Sleep, little baby, the Kuka comes to get you" is actually a lullaby.
yeah.
Fuck
There's
is
a
that?
there's a lot of lullabies in the Latino culture. There's some of them that are pretty sadistic and scary.
Natalie, hey baby, you're on your own.
um, that's another thing I'd like to get into one day. I'd have to research it and everything like that. Is the lullabies of Mexico and stuff like that, because they have a lot of them that are pretty messed up. And it's like, as a little kid, you're like, yeah, those aren't that bad. But then you grow up and you start analyzing all of it. You're like,
oh god.
whoa.
Well, so
So,
um, Silius Italicus, the inventor of italic writing. Joking.
Metallica.
He said that the warriors would sing the songs about Kukui and Boogeyman, the Boogeyman. And it was stuff like, "Boogeyman atop the roof, let my child have a quiet sleep." But they would sing things about these monsters. And it was supposed to incite the children to battle, which I don't quite gather exactly why.
Right.
But he had said that young warriors would sing these songs in their native language while hitting their shields, kind of like the haka, like you said.
Yeah, the haka dance.
And in like the rhythm of the song, and he would say that because of this, they were well versed in magic.
I was thinking about, because we were talking about that backstage and everything like that. The logical thing for that would have to be is that, remember how I was telling you that there are some people say that loud music wards off evil spirits and stuff like that. Maybe what it was is that the banging of the shield and everything like that, and the chanting and stuff warded this evil, this kukui, it warded them off. That's probably why they would say that.
Natalie just suggested that they might have been summoning him. They were in battle.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, they could have been summoning, to defeat him or something like that. That is another reason there. There's
But
another
also,
logical.
When we were talking earlier, Kukui doesn't have a definite shape.
No.
And so he's a shapeshifter.
It's different, yeah.
So some people
kind of like
see him.
Isn't there a cryptid that's a shapeshifter?
Oh gosh, Natalie. By the way, Natalie says that makes what you said makes sense too.
Yeah, it does. But yeah, there is a cryptid, another cryptid story that is a shapeshifter and everything. I think it's the lake. I think it is.
Well, there's another one called Bicho Papayo. Papao? Brazilian. I don't know.
I don't know it. I'm not familiar with Brazilian folklore, but yeah, it's That is pretty scary. I mean, hell,
Or you could call it the Moru Kututu.
Ubuntu.
Umbutu.
All right. Let's get back. I'm going to tell you guys another story now.
Yes, please. So Kukui's
let's
done.
get in. Let's get on to El Silbón.
Look
The
at
legend
that
of El
boy.
Silbón. Yeah. The legend of El Silbón, or in English terms, would be the Whistler, comes from Venezuela and Colombia. It's the story of a young spoiled boy who asked his father to get him some venison for dinner. While his father was away, the boy grew impatient and went looking for him. When he found him and saw him empty handed, the boy killed him. He then took his father's entrails to his mother to cook for dinner, without her knowing.
What the?
hmm After noticing how tough the meat was, she realized it belonged to her husband, and she cursed her son for all eternity.
Wait,
Some
wait.
accounts say that she.
I got a
What's up?
question. After realizing how tough the meat was, she realized it was her husband.
All right.
Chew on him often?
I guess so. Just like,
So,
what is
hey,
this?
babe. This is
Oh,
great.
well,
Sorry, go ahead.
um, so she cursed her son for all eternity. Some accounts say that she then called his grandfather, who physically punished him before having several dogs hunt the boy relentlessly. El
Jesus.
Cibon is known as an omen of death and is described as a thin and tall ghost. He is known for his distinctive whistle that is deceiving. If you hear this whistle up close, then you are safe. But if you hear it far away, it means likely it's too late for you. He is
What?
often depicted as carrying a bag of bones. Some say it's his father's bones, but others say it's his victim's remains. So that one I have heard of El Ciblon. The folklore says that okay, a lot of like your Latino culture families will tell their kids, don't be out at night because El Ciblon is gonna get you. And the whole thing that comes out is that his distinctive whistle. That if you hear it up close, of course, it means that the kid is safe. But if they hear it from far away, that's the end.
So I need to
But I
ask
think that
questions
I
there.
think that was I think that was reversed because on my notes here it says if you hear it up close, but I think if you hear it up close, that would be too late.
That's what I was gonna ask. Like, why is it that if you hear it up
Yeah,
close?
yeah. I think that the notes were kind of confusing there, but yes, of course, it does say that if you hear them close, and others say that others say that if you're whistling at night alone, if you're walking the streets at night alone whistling, that he comes out. It's like calling him out, you know.
Did you mention that he had
And
called his mom a whore?
no, no,
Okay, so the
no,
Venezuelan version, I just found this because I was looking to see if there was an edit, and it says that he called his mom a whore. Oh,
no.
sorry, his mom. Or his dad called his mom a whore, so he rage killed his dad.
Ah, yeah. But yeah, I've heard tales about the Cibolon and stuff like that. That's enough to scare me. I mean, there's times that I go out and smoke at night or something like that. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to be out here anymore. I'll be like half cigarette or something like that. I'm like, I'm going back inside.
Honestly, yeah, if you hear anything that sounds like a whistle, I'd be like, peace, I'm done.
Yeah,
Fuck that.
especially because here I live still. We're considered the countryside still, but we're kind of populating now.
Mm-hmm.
But it kind of there's still kind of like these kind of like spooky vibes around here. Sometimes it's like
Love
we'll
it.
be out. I'll be out there alone, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going back inside now.
Oh gosh. I've had to walk out to grab the dogs periodically, like in the middle of the night, because we'll fall asleep and we'll leave them out there. We wake up at like 1 or 2 in the morning, and it's like, oops, we gotta go grab the dogs. But like for the most part, it's because we're suburban. For the most part, it's like whatever. You're gonna go outside. You're probably gonna hear gunshots, but whatever. But then when it's eerily quiet and you hear just a little noise, that's when you're like running through the house, closing everything, turning all the lights on.
Yep. I myself cannot stand, and I mean, I look like I got a tough exterior and stuff like that, you know, but I myself cannot stand eerie silence. There has to be some sort of noise for me to, you know,
quiet
be
that you can hear
comfortable.
your ears ringing.
It's
not fun. Like when the only sound you hear is your own ringing ears, and you're like, why is it so quiet? This is creepy.
Yeah, that's when you're like, yeah, you know what? I got to turn something on.
Oh yeah,
I got to have something at least playing. So
Natalie said that she thought Japanese ghosts were badasses, but I think the Latin ones have them beat.
Oh, right. Latin ghosts will come at you with machetes and stuff like that. But Liz, do you have something else that you wanna talk about?
Let's play a commercial real fast, so we can hop back into this.
Yes.
So, real fast, if you guys didn't know, Mikey, I'm not sure if you knew this yet. Kelly and Brent, or I'm sorry, Kelly and Joe have a new show coming out tomorrow called I want to say it's Talking to Strangers. I'm so sorry if I butchered that, guys.
I actually saw that this afternoon.
Yeah, so we're going to play that real fast. And then we have a couple comments real fast, I think.
Awesome.
I'm sorry, Cowboy Ben.
We now return you to your regularly scheduled program in progress.
Hey, Sam!
Hello.
I used to work with Sam. We got the hell out of that place.
Awesome.
Oh, wow. Stormbringer. I'm not going to bring that up, actually, but I'm sorry you went through that shit.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason I'm not bringing it up is I don't want to incriminate you.
No.
You're too awesome.
So
which one should I talk about first? The one that coincides with Kukui or the other one in your area?
You know what? Let's talk about the one in my area, you know?
Nice. So we're going to talk about El Muerto. So El Muerto, this is actually a artistic representation of him. But in reality, he is the Headless Horseman.
By the way, Liz.
Yeah.
Not to sorry to interrupt you, but this is not to be confused with La Santa Muerte.
No.
Okay. Because a lot of people are probably gonna think, oh, Santa Muerte. No, this is not the Santa Muerte. This is El Muerto, and
this
it's a totally different.
This.
Yes, it's not that. No, this is Urban legend.
This is not Santa Muerte. This is El Muerto. This is the Headless Horseman. The same idea as Sleepy Hollow. But he has another story. And so this picture, by the way, I've taken a similar one in person. This isn't my picture, though, although it could be. I don't know. It's on the internet. This is from Knott's Berry Farm, when they do the haunted thing at Knott's Scary Farm. And this is their Headless Horseman that journeys between Ghost Town and Fiesta Village. Which is pretty cool to me because they're kind of keeping with the theme. Because Ghost Town is full of, like, the Wild West type stuff. And then Fiesta Village, well, you can see the tie-in right there. Because this story takes place between Texas and Mexico. So, here, I'll pull something up. I actually think I have a story on this one. Here we go. So, in the 1800s, Texas was a wild and lawless place, attracting all manner of thieves, murderers, and ruthless outlaws. To combat these desperados, fight the Indians, who were prone to attacking the white settlers, in rode the Texas Rangers, who set about in taming the wild Texas frontier. The Rio Grande, to the south, had been declared the border between the United States and Mexico. However, the Mexican government refused to recognize the boundary, insisting instead that it's the Nuez River as the border. This left a giant chunk of land between the two rivers, becoming known as No Man's Land, a prime target for outlaws. So the dispute between the two countries finally forced the United States to go to war with Mexico in 1846 to make the Rio Grande the official border. However, it would take another 30 years before the Texas Rangers could rid the territory of the Mexican cattle rustlers and the thieves that were coming in. So in 1890, the Texas Rangers, a roving posse of expert gunmen, were not men to be fucked with. Excuse my language. Following their adversaries everywhere, they lived out of the saddle and often dispensed brutal justice. Two of these men were Creed Taylor and William Alexander Anderson, William Alexander Anderson Wallace, who was also known as Bigfoot. And this is why, by the way.
That guy was pretty tall, man. I mean, by the looks of that picture, oh my God. I mean, that dude had to stand about 6'5",
yeah,
6'6", or something like that.
Definitely.
Yeah, he had to have been as tall as Andre the Giant or something like that.
Maybe.
But he was tall.
Basically, I was wrong earlier. He wasn't El Muerto, but he created it, basically. So,
okay.
Bigfoot Wallace was himself a folk hero, and it was Bigfoot, with Creed's blessing, who unwittingly created El Muerto. In 1850, a man known simply as Vidal was busy rustling cattle all over South Texas, and soon he had a high price on his head, dead or alive. During that summer, Vidal took advantage of a Comanche raid, which pulled most of the men north to fight off the attack. In the meantime, the sparse settlements were temporarily left unguarded. Vidal attacked, along with 3 of his henchmen. He wasted no time in taking advantage of the situation and gathered up a considerable number of horses on the San Antonio River, heading southwest towards Mexico. What Vidal didn't know was that among the stolen herd were several prized Mustangs belonging to Texas Ranger Creed Taylor, usually one of the first to defend the settlements against Indian attacks. But he had not on this occasion. Creed's ranch lay west of San Antonio in the thickest of bandit territory, not far from the waters of the headwaters of the Nuez River. Due to the location of the ranch, Taylor's livestock and horses were often targets from bandits. He had enough. Taylor had enough, and quickly gathered a fellow ranger, which was Bigfoot Wallace, and a nearby ranger named Flores. Both Wallace and Taylor were as skilled as any Comanche when it came to tracking the men, and they found found Vidal and the henchmen. When the three men found the outlaw camp, they waited until night when the bandits were sleeping to attack, catching them unaware. And they killed the thieves. But just killing them was not enough. Taylor and Wallace wanted to set an example that would deter future bandits. And so in those days, stealing cattle and horses was a crime that was more serious than murder.
Still is.
I just swallowed a bug.
Ugh.
There's a fly. I think protein. Rangers had tried all type of brutal justice, including stringing them up from trees and leaving them hanging, shooting them, chopping them to pieces, leaving their bodies for animal bait. But none of it had worked. It didn't scare them. They didn't give a shit. So, in a dramatic example of frontier justice, Wallace beheaded Vidal and then latched him firmly into a saddle on the back of a wild Mustang. So, tying the outlaw's hands to the pommel and securing the torso to hold him upright, Bigfoot then attached Vidal's head and sombrero to the saddle with a long strip of rawhide. He then turned the bucking horse loose to wander the hills with that terrible burden on his back. Yeah. Soon stories began to abound about the headless rider, seen usually in a remote country with his sombrero head swinging back and forth to the rhythm of the horse's gallop. Ugh. As time went on, more and more cowboys spotted the dark horse with the fearsome cargo, and not knowing what it was riddled with, that it was riddled with they really riddled it with bullets and stuff. They didn't know it was already dead, that it was Vidal. So the horse and the rider rode on. And that's when El Muerto legend began. The headless one.
Wow.
Soon, South Texas brush country became a place to avoid, as El Muerto was credited with all kinds of evil and misfortune. Finally, a posse of local ranchers captured the wild pony at a watering hole near the tiny community of Ben Bolt, just south of Alice. Still strapped firmly on its back was the dried-up corpse of Vidal, now riddled by scores of bullets and arrows. The body was buried in an unmarked grave near Ben Bolt, and the horse was freed of the burden. Yeah. That should have been the end of El Muerto, but the legend would live on to this day. Soon after Vidal's body was laid to rest, soldiers at Fort Ing, present-day Uvalde, began to see the headless rider. Travelers and ranchers in no man's land also reported continuing to see him. In 1917, a couple that was traveling by covered wagon to San Diego camped for the night outside of town. They would report the next day that as they sat at the campfire, a large gray stallion sped by with a headless man shouting, "It's mine, it's all mine." My question is, how was the headless man shouting?
Right.
Another sighting of the headless wonder was reported near Freer, Texas in 1969. The legend lives on today. Many people report seeing the headless rider galloping through the mesquite on a clear moonlit night in South Texas.
See, the El Muerto, that when they mention South Texas, they're talking about their version of South Texas. They're talking about like cities like Alice and Corpus and all that stuff. That's still we call ourselves Deep South Texas, which is like because we're way down south.
Well, it was supposed to originate near the border, kind of like, but in between the two rivers.
Right. That's the thing I'm trying to figure out is whereabouts. Because, see, Deep South Texas, the ones that border Mexico here, which is Starr County, Hidalgo County, Cameron County, and Willacy County, those are all the counties at the bottom.
Okay.
So it could be either it could span from Rio Grande City to Mission to Brownsville,
Oh yeah.
Arlington, those. So it could be anywhere. But I I this is the first time I've heard about El Muerto.
Mm-hmm.
I've never heard of him around here.
Hmm.
But I mean, I'm pretty sure if I do some investigating, I probably can get something out of it.
Well, Mikey, don't go hunt El Muerto. Oh, Calvin said that he wonders if it could be a residual haunting. I was thinking that too, to be honest.
Could be.
Like
Could
somebody
be, but,
died a very traumatic death. So
yeah.
And that poor horse. God.
Well, I mean, come on. I mean, look what they did to the guy. I mean, they tied him to a horse and they yanked his head off and stuff. Like,
I feel worse for the horse.
Yeah, poor horse, but I'd be haunting me some people too if they did that to me. Shit.
I would have come back and haunted their asses.
I'm like, I'm coming after y'all. So let's get back to another story.
Hell yeah.
La Ciguapa.
Ooh, let me pull
Now,
that up. There we go.
Now,
All the
La
naughty bits covered. Sorry.
Now, La Ciguapa, these nymph-like creatures supposedly live in the caves and forests of the Dominican Republic's mountain regions.
Ooh.
They communicate with a distinctive wail. A ciguapa is described as having a dark or blue skin with slanted black eyes. Long, lustrous hair she uses to cover her body and backwards-facing feet. Wow. What else you walk?
How do you walk with backwards facing feet?
That's exactly what I want to know. They are nocturnal and are said to have a hunting spirit looking for wandering men. So basically, night ladies?
I guess so. Some ladies of the night.
Some killer ladies of the night there, huh? With their magic and their beauty, they seduce the men that cross their paths. Some say kill, and some say they eat their... Yeah, land sirens. Some say they kill, some say they eat their victims, while others think they simply make them disappear. So, yeah, that was a very short story there.
I got a longer
There
one.
wasn't much.
But we can still discuss that, too.
Yeah.
So, what I gathered from what you said was they're basically sirens in caves and woods.
Yeah.
Although I'm not sure that their wail draws people in more so than scares them off.
Their beauty attracts them.
Okay.
They have the power to attract by their beauty and stuff like that. People, they tend to,
I mean,
be
she's pretty
attracting and
hot.
stuff. Pretty much.
In a corpse bride kind of way.
She'll probably stab you.
Well, most women will.
No, it was a siren joke. It was a siren joke.
Siren, I miss you.
By the way, shout out to Siren.
Honestly, guys, go check out Siren Von Wicked. She's awesome.
Yeah. That's the next big thing in horrorcore rap.
Fuck yeah, she is. If you guys get a chance, Siren Von Wicked.
But yeah, the Ciguapa, I'm pretty sure it's kind of like the mermaids, like all those that they would attract. Like mermaids would attract sailors with their singing.
Mm-hmm.
These Ciguapas would attract with their beauty and all this magic in them and stuff like that. To where guys can't resist beauty, so what do? They go and follow and.
I find it really amusing that all of these stories are like, apparently all guys think with their dick. Here's a pretty lady. They just cannot resist the pretty lady.
Right.
Hey, Ange. Hey, Angie.
Hey, how's it going, Ange? Yeah, pretty much. I mean, well, this is from the Dominican Republic, so yeah, I'm pretty sure that it's
like the stories of mermaids apparently originated from manatees. because supposedly manatees would look like women with fishtails. How
Where
long
did I
had
get that
these
from?
people been at sea?
Right?
We should do something on mermaids and sirens one day.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe we can
Actually,
get
you
a
know,
siren of
I
our
don't
own.
know. You know, I don't know if you've ever seen the videos of mermaids and stuff like that, actual footage of mermaids. I don't know if they're real or not, but
Hmm.
they do kind of look pretty creepy.
The ones that they've drawn out are pretty not cute.
No.
And then of course, black eyes. No. Um, Harry Potter when they were underwater. That would be a little closer to what a mermaid apparently looks like.
Right? Right.
All
It ain't
right.
Ariel, I'll tell you that much.
So mermaids don't usually active seek out men. Sirens actively seek to sink ships and kill the men.
Mhm.
That's the difference, really.
Yeah.
Although mermaids are not nice. Supposedly, the cold waters of the ocean have turned their heart to ice.
Yeah, that what they do is that they lure the men to their death, like they lure them to get to drown.
Yeah.
They hear their singing and stuff, and their singing kind of like puts them in a trance or something, and
That's the
there they
sirens.
go.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Speaking of siren, I just got a notification she put up another picture.
Tell her
They need to
come
stay
watch our
away from the
show.
Black Lake.
The Black Lake.
So, I do have one more.
Let's hear it.
Again, so Kukui and La Llorona are apparently stories that came up through Mexico into California and then spread out. I don't know why they specifically went into California first. I don't know what the regional aspect of it was, really. But this was the other story that was found in the 4,000-year-old paintings on rocks, which is crazy. And let me find my notes here. So, the legend of La Llorona, which means the weeping woman, has been part of Latin culture in the Southwest since the days of the conquistadors. The tale is so commonly told that every community has their own version of the story. But one thing stays the same. The listeners always, or the people telling it, always believe that La Llorona is local. The storytellers always seem to know someone who has either heard or seen the undead mother. So, really, La Llorona is basically a lady in white. It's the same idea as the lady in white.
Yeah.
So, tales vary from source to source, but one common thread is that the weeping woman is the spirit of a doomed mother who drowned her children and now has to spend eternity searching for them in rivers and lakes. The tall, thin spirit is said to be blessed with natural beauty, long, flowing black hair, wearing a white gown, and she roams rivers, creeks, lakes, wailing into the night and searching for her children. Now, this is where there's differing aspects. There's one aspect where she's searching for her children because she regrets what she did. And there's another one where she's searching for her children to drag them screaming into a watery grave.
Yeah.
That one's extra creepy.
There's very, very many stories of La Llorona. Like here, a lot of people, they tell the story of how she had a husband. The husband left for the military, left with another woman. Blah blah blah. You know, they go around. It varies from who you talk to. Is what I'm trying to say. Is like it varies from who you talk to. There's people that say different things. It's in there. It's very popular. That's one of the very popular ones. Is La Llorona.
Well, no matter what rendition, apparently her name is always Maria.
Yeah.
And she was born to a peasant family in a humble village. Her startling beauty would catch the attention of both rich and poor men in the area. She was said to have spent her days in her humble surroundings, but in the evenings she would don her best white gown and thrill the men who admired her in the local fandangos. I just like that word, fandangos.
Fandango.
The young men anxiously awaited for her arrival and and she reveled in the attention that she received. However, La Llorona had two small sons who made it difficult for her to spend her evenings out, and often she left them alone while she cavorted with gentlemen during the evenings. One day, two small boys were found drowned in the river. Some say that they drowned through her neglect, but others say that they died at her own hand. So another aspect.
See, the part where they died at her own hand was the ones that I hear.
Same.
So what were you going to say? The aspect?
Oh, there's another aspect of it. So another part of the legend would say that she was a caring woman, full of life and love, who married a wealthy man who lavished her with gifts and attention. However, she bore him two sons, and he began to change, returning to a life of alcohol and womanizing, often leaving her for months at a time. He seemingly no longer cared for beautiful Maria, even talking about leaving her to marry a woman of his own wealthy class. When he did return home, it was only to visit his children, and the devastated Maria began to feel resentment towards the boys. One evening, as Maria was strolling with her two children on a shady pathway near the river, her husband came by in a carriage with an elegant lady beside him. He stopped, spoke to his children, and ignored Maria completely, and then drove the carriage down the road without looking back. After seeing this, Maria went into a terrible rage and turned on her children. She seized them and threw them into the river, and they disappeared downstream. She realized what she had done and ran down the bank to save them, but it was too late. She broke down in inconsolable grief, running down the streets screaming and wailing, "Where are my children?" And the beautiful La Llorona mourned them day and night. During this time, she would not eat and walked along the river in her white gown searching for her boys, hoping they would come back to her. She cried endlessly as she roamed the river banks, and her gown became soiled and torn. When she continued to refuse to eat, she grew thinner and appeared taller until she looked like a walking skeleton. Still a young woman, she finally died at the banks of the river. Not long after her death, her restless spirit began to appear, walking the banks of the river when darkness would fall. Her sweeping and wailing became a curse of the night, and people were afraid to go out in the dark. She was said to have been seen drifting between the trees along the shoreline or floating on the current with her long white gown spread out across the waters. On many a dark night, people would see her walking along the riverbanks, crying for her children, asking, "Where are my children?" And so they no longer spoke to her as Maria. They didn't call her that anymore. They would call her La Llorona because she's the weeping woman.
Yeah.
Children are warned not to go out after dark, for La Llorona might snatch them up and throw them into the flowing waters to their death.
Yeah, that's pretty scary. The whole thing about La Llorona always scared the crap out of me, and to this day, I'm scared to walk around canals at night.
Yeah.
Even when my homies and stuff like that, they invite me to go fishing and everything like that. I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna go to no. Yeah, like they like going night fishing, and I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not gonna go night fishing with y'all. Screw y'all.
I'm that crazy person that goes swimming in a lake at night.
I've got to the point where I've kind of like eased off of that, but I still get that uneasy feeling.
Oh yeah.
But it's always gonna be there. But like back then, I would be like, no, you're crazy. I'm not going there at night. So
supposedly,
yeah,
this is a sighting of her. I mean, we discussed this earlier. This is probably somebody playing a hoax in a graveyard.
yeah, that looks like somebody hoaxing or something like that. They're
I mean, it's cool.
I mean, look at it. It looks cool, but I mean, look at the photo and everything like that. There's no clear picture. There's no.
It's like all the Bigfoot sightings and the Loch Ness monster.
Yeah. Now, UFOs There's an
Oh my
explanation for the
god.
There's an explanation for the UFOs and stuff like that. This is my theory of why pictures do not come out clear. Is
Because
because
they're moving.
when you're taking a picture of the UFO, UFOs emit radiation like microwave microwave things and
Like
stuff like
electromagnetic or like that kind of thing, or like actual microwaves.
like actual microwave, like you know how like when you turn on the microwave, it'll mess with your phone.
Yeah.
Okay, that's exactly what the UFOs do.
Okay.
That's why people can't get a clear picture of it, because it's screwing the microwaves that are coming out of that ship is what's messing the phones up.
Well, in order to
It's
travel,
a sort of check this out. It's a sort of like a cloaking device that they have, and basically, people are gonna say, "Oh, that person's crazy." They're faking it. They're not gonna believe it because they don't want you to believe that. That's my theory on why when people take pictures of UFOs, they cannot get a clear shot.
Huh.
Because of the radiation that it emits out of it and stuff. So,
hold on, strange orb, and of course I can't find the picture. So today I was reading an article about a guy who had gone to New Mexico, and while he was there, he was like out kind of near where the crash site was supposed to be.
mm-hmm.
And while he was there, he actually found this weird orb in the sand. He wasn't trying to grab it or anything like that, but he did take a lot of pictures of it. Oh my gosh. So, while looking for it right now, I just found pretty much the same thing, but in Vietnam.
Huh. Looks like some kind of prehistoric bowling ball or something.
Looks like a giant nipple. But apparently it was Spaceballs crash into North Vietnam.
Huh. Spaceballs.
Of course, my brain's all, we're combing the desert. We ain't found shit.
Yeah. Yeah. That. These are some pretty Mexican folklores and stuff like that. It's just some pretty creepy shit, man.
Dude, they go all out with their folklore. Like,
They do. They do. I mean, look at the Dia de los Muertos and stuff like that. If you read the backstory about it, it's creepy and stuff. And I mean,
yeah.
you got so much things. You got brujas and you got all of this. And one folklore before I say goodbye here, the lady that danced with the devil.
Yes.
Yes, that's right. Here in my area in McAllen, there's a place called There was a place called Bocaccio's 2000, which I passed by there Saturday, and now it's going to become. Yeah, I passed by there Saturday, and they're making a car wash out of it. So, yeah, no, it's been an empty lot for years. For many years, it's been an empty lot. Yeah, but according to urban legend, this girl deceives her mom. Mom tells her not to go to the dance. She deceives her, goes to the dance, finds a guy, and basically dances with this guy, not knowing he's the devil. When all of a sudden she starts feeling a burning sensation on her, and she finds out that he has a chicken foot and a hoof, and he goes in a ball of smoke that smells like sulfur, and push came to shove, he's the devil. That's the short version.
My brain was like, hoof claw.
Yeah. All right, guys. That's my show for tonight.
The part you missed of the story was that she burst into flames with the sulfur smell.
No, she did not burst into flames. Sorry about that.
Sorry.
No, the guy did. The guy turned into smoke and everything, all the sulfur and stuff. Yeah.
That's what it was.
That's my show for today. Thank you, Liz, for being on my show, and thank you, Psycho Bunny Death Call. thank you to all the fans. This show was made possible by viewers like you. Thank you, and thank everybody in here. Go like, follow, share. Psycho Bunny Death Cult, Psycho Mantium 13, TBDC TV, and Roots Bleed Red. That's my show for tonight. I'm Mikey.
Awesome.
Laters.
Bye, guys.
I don't know, set the world on fire. I don't want in my I have a lonely desire.
It's that time, kids. Hold on to your heads. Join Psychomantium 13. Each week for thrills, chills, and a horrific good time. Don't lose your heads. Join Psychomantium 13 and enter the weird.